Now we've got a very unique combination of energies. We've got the seriousness of Saturn, but we've got the quirkiness of Uranus combined with the emotional output of the moon. Moon in Aquarius. Well, let's see here. The moon here becomes a thinker of science. Everything is not just to be dissected, but to be understood on a plane of experiments. And so the moon gains a lot of emotional fulfillment when life is like an experiment. These people have access to groups of people, groups and groups of people, and they are creating all these little relationships, but they're not as much engaged in and in tuned with the person like a moon in Libra is. They're not as much about gaining the adoration of people. They're not as much about gaining people to like them. It's like they already know that they're likable, this moon in Aquarius. What they are gaining is connection, connection to connection to connection, the network of people. Through the groups of friends that they are and belong to, they can find their personality, they can craft their personality, and they need that group in order to figure out what makes them different. They need the group in order to figure out what their personality is. So the one-on-one basis that you get with the moon in Libra is not useful to the moon in Aquarius. They need groups of friends, and so they're naturally and instinctively and intuitively a really good friend. But it's not, as their friend, right? It's not about you. It's about you and them and their other friend, and you and them and your other friends, and how they are amongst all of you. And that's what it's about with the moon in Aquarius. They are very, very highly intelligent and are almost don't have enough time, Saturn, for emotions. They access their emotions probably the most when dealing with things that have to do with um, children and technology and the inhumane practices of the world and of geography and weather. So let's go through those a little bit. The children comes from the moon in the axis of Leo in Aquarius. And so Leo is also very much so connected to children. But the moon in Aquarius accesses their emotional fulfillment and their sensitivities through the inhumane treatment of children. So they are able to find their own sensitivities when children are involved. And this is because the connection to children is the connection to the future. And so for them, they want to build a better future for children, right? Because the children are the future. This is Moon in Aquarius. Now, the other thing about how they access their emotions is through their relationship to geography, how the world is crafted and created, like how the countries are shaped and formed, right? How the weather is useful to the world versus detrimental and destroys lives. This is where they will access their emotions. If you can't find a moon in Aquarius who is very emotional, try sharing with them, try experimenting with them by talking about how the weather or a certain catastrophe in history has shaped and created a way of life or lifestyle that is detrimental to the people. This story will puncture the in access to emotion for Moon and Aquarius. This type of story is what gears them and pulls emotion for them to the surface. They are very passionate about the world, the future, and how people live and how children are going to be treated in the future. So that is a moon in Aquarius. They have a serious energy, but they're also quirky, and the quirkiness comes from their finding their identity through the group, what makes them very different. Okay, so what's your interpretation of a moon in Aquarius? How would you build upon what we've talked about in this video? All right.